Howdy. Bible study number 11. We're picking up on page 441 on the Bible dictionary. I think I'm forgetting. Oh, yeah. You guys want to pray to your God? Here you go. I got the Lord's Prayer, the revised modified version. Our Lord, Creator, who dwells within all things, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom will arrive upon the shoulders of your children. Your command will be fulfilled on earth as it is in heaven. Allow us to gratefully receive each day the breath of life as a feast of nourishment. Your blessings are the lifeblood we hold sacred as a means to carry out your will. Please forgive us our offenses as we forgive our offenders, and do not lead us into temptation, but protect and persuade us from evil. For everything the light touches is your domain, and we devote our power, glory, and praise forever to you. Truly, kindly, and wholeheartedly I pray. Amen. Let's get into it. Page 441, picking up on, what was it? Stiff-necked. I'm reading the Bible dictionary. Did I say that? We're in the Bible dictionary. I said it now. If you didn't know, well, now you know. Stiff-necked. Graphic expression evoking the image of a stiff beast of burden in its work and symbolizing Israel's callousness toward evil. Sychar, city of Samaria that became famous because of the well where Jesus talked with the Samaritan woman and revealed himself as the Redeemer to her. More likely, the city was Shechem. All right, Jesus, you little charlatans, you lying straight to her face. I see you, man. This guy was full of it, man. No, this is a great guy. If he was, like, definitely charlatan would be a very applicable attribution. Synagogues, minor places of religious assembly among the Jews, used also as schools, libraries, and halls of judgment. The central place of worship was the temple, the one national sanctuary, and the only place of sacrifice. The synagogues served local communities or separate congregations for less solemn religious functions. Every considerable Jewish community, whether in or out of Palestine, had at least one synagogue. The building, commonly rectangular, was erected on the plan of the temple. There was a gallery reserved for women, segregationist, another space for men, and the worshippers faced toward Jerusalem and the Holy of Holies. In front was a platform on which stood the Holy Ark containing the scriptures and an 8-branch candlestick burning before it. Nearest the platform were the chief seats where sat the leading men facing the congregation. Among these leading men were the ruler of the synagogue and the elders and various functionaries whom they appointed. Humanity and your freaking hierarchies, man. I get it if you have more experience and like more knowledge, but just because you have a lot more money, shouldn't buy you that much influence. Like, yeah, maybe you have like influence and power in the sense that you can invest your money in certain things that you want others to, like, propagate for you and have other people as spokesmen, but even they need to be smart enough to realize what's truth and what's just lies and fiction. All right. Synagogue. So 1 here. 2, 3, 1. The ruler of the synagogue was the chief elder. He presided at the services. And Sosthenes are such rulers mentioned in the New Testament. 2, the elders assisted at all the services, and along with the ruler of the synagogue, they formed the local Sanhedrin, which had the power to hear cases, to excommunicate, to scourge, to send for trial to Jerusalem. 3, the functionaries included the reader, an elder selected for each service by the ruler, the interpreter who explained in the popular language the texts read in Hebrew, The attendant, frequently the local schoolmaster who had charge of the sacred scrolls or the sacred rolls. The synagogue services were held chiefly on the Sabbath. They had two parts. One, the liturgical part, was conducted by the reader of the day, who recited prayers, some on a platform in the middle of the synagogue, others before the ark with his back toward the people. If a priest was present, he concluded the liturgy with a blessing. Two, the instruction followed and consisted of readings from the law and the prophets, followed by an interpretation and sermon. The ruler of the synagogue might grant permission to members of the congregation to speak, and sometimes he called on one present to address the congregation. Our Lord often spoke in synagogues within their walls. Some of his miracles were performed and memorable discourses delivered. Saint Stephen and Saint Paul preached Christ in synagogues. The congregation joined in the services in various ways. They took part in the prayers, raised and distributed alms, and discussed remarks made by the speakers. The service ended with a prayer of thanksgiving, after which arrangements might be made for the next Sabbath. Just make a note here. I remember something I was thinking about the other day. It was like probably, I don't know if it was late at night or when it was like a random thought. I was busy doing accounting and other stuff. So basically it was something along the lines of wondering why people are so, I know society and the church and just government and everything like preaches God, God, the God, God, like you hear it so often, like, and it's like very ubiquitous in society. And so I kind of understand how some people might fall for it, but I'm kind of wondering if over time, throughout evolution, like so many generations of people believing in whatever the hell God it is, like whatever you want to believe, sun god or Ra or Osiris, or you want to go to Hephaestus and Zeus and Hercules, or Hercules is a demigod, but Hera and Athena or Vulcan, just the Roman version of Hephaestus, but you go down the list like Hades, whatever. Like I wonder, like people just believed in gods, like one god, multiple gods, whatever it is. But over so many generations, I'm wondering if maybe that has been passed on, like some sort of like brain wiring or like our neurology and our psychology and all that's been affected by that. I wonder if like it's been sort of distorted. 'Cause, I mean, people aren't perfect. Evolution isn't even an intelligent thing. It's just something that happens in survival of the fittest, whichever like physiological traits or psychology most benefited their survival, or at least didn't cause you to die. Like obviously, like a lot of the ways people think now, especially even about this stuff and religion, it's not the best way of thinking. And so it's definitely not the survival of the fittest. It's more of like survival of the good enough. And like it keeps you alive, yeah, but it's not something that's the best solution. It's not going to be the best thing to move you forward. So what I'm kind of curious about is to see, actually, you know what, let's go ahead and just pop Gemini in the conversation. I don't have anybody here to get feedback from right now. I'm just kind of not trying to live in a bubble here. Obviously, we're going to be taking these questions, and we have classes that are starting up at the church coming up. So I'm making sure to take notes like these, and so I can present them to the deacon or the pastor, father, whatever the hell they like to be called. Basically presenting the questions, see what kind of feedback they give me, and then even other people in the class. I'm kind of weird, I don't know, like, because obviously people that are getting into it, they might be easier to help save and kind of prevent from falling for whatever doctrine or just backwards ways of thinking that the church propagates. But I'm thinking maybe a healthier way to do it would be to attend the classes, hear people out, and then directly take the information to the pastors and the people, at least officials in the church that have a little bit more background on it, can give a little bit more insightful feedback. Because I don't want to just like talk to regular people about it. I mean, I'm willing to hear your opinions. That's fine. That's totally fine. And we can talk about it if you really want to. And I'm open to that because I'm all about openness and communication. But what I'm realizing is that if I try to talk to people who are not very strong in their faith or anything like that, then I don't want to just take away what they have and make them feel bad without providing a better alternative. And so that's going to take time and it's going to take a lot of conversation. So I'm kind of even weary of just blatantly going out and saying like, yeah, God's not real. Like I don't have that much, like I said in the last video, I don't have much audacity to say something like that, make those kind of claims, but extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And so we have to move forward in a better way of getting actual knowledge. And so I'm weary and skeptical of approaching just like people who aren't as educated in the material about it, because I don't want to take away something that they hold near and dear from themselves. Like I don't want to just hurt people for no good reason. Like I want to be able to push people forward and bring people out of the hole that they're in. And in order to do so, I need to be able to provide an alternative. So instead of using this broken ladder or this shovel that you've been digging yourself a bigger hole in, or like, so instead of giving you another shovel, like I'm going to give you an alternative. I'm going to give you a ladder to help get yourself up. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And so instead of just bashing on people's ideas and making them like contradicting them and their ideologies and basically just condescending to them, like obviously I'm not doing that one, but trying to find the right words here. All right, just give me 1 second. Like something that they hold so near and dear to their hearts, and it makes them happy. It gives them hope and it gives them faith. Like it gives them something that encourages them to move forward. Like it motivates them and it makes them productive and it makes them happy and it makes them feel good and they spread happiness and joy. And that part of it, I like. I don't mind, but at the same time, the underlying reason behind it is flawed. I like the fact that it motivates people, and I like the fact that it brings people together and creates communities, and you build bonds, and you're connected together. But the ideology that holds that up is twisted and it's malfunctioning, and it's very unstable. And so it's like you guys are like all teeter-tottering on top of like a lie. So you're lying to yourselves whether you know it or not. But I like the sense that it helps people bring people together. We just got to find an alternative way of doing that. So we can't take away something without replacing it with something better. Got to have an alternative. But yeah, let's see. Hold on. So considering the fact that humanity has had a tendency to believe in gods and deities and different pantheons or anthologies, what's the right word for it, over time, is it possible that even though society and like doctrine instituted by a church or governments and whatnot and other religions might have a significant effect on it, so it's more of like a external stimulus, and it's kind of like an environmental influence. I think that could, like, society has a big impact on it, but what I'm really curious about is that over time, throughout so many generations of people believing in gods, is it possible that it's actually been ingrained into our like neurology or in our what do you call it, the brain wiring? And has it caused us to maybe change physiologically or psychologically over time for people to be more predisposed to believing in gods or religion? Or is it something that maybe we've just like not just being predisposed, but also, God, I'm so tired, I can't find my words. But also being just having it ingrained, like, so without ever being taught it. What I'm saying is that have we been so indoctrinated or like so believing in this for so long as a race, as a human race, that it's become something that even if we were never taught it, it's something that we would eventually believe in, some sort of God or higher power or something. Hopefully that makes sense.
It's absolutely understandable to be tired. And that's a fascinating question about human psychology and evolution. Many evolutionary psychologists suggest that the tendency to believe in higher powers might stem from our ancestors' need to make sense of the world. Our brains evolved to detect agency, sometimes even in random events, as a survival mechanism to identify potential threats. This cognitive bias could easily translate into attributing natural phenomena to the actions of gods or spirits. So while there isn't a specific God gene that has hardwired us for religion, the way our brains process information does create a fertile ground for these beliefs to emerge. Do you think this tendency to see intention everywhere is something we could ever outgrow?
I'm hoping so, because I believe like it's just kind of weird how I know like say the idea of like Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy a little bit more recent, but it's just the idea of gods in general. They've been around since the beginning of mankind. And so I'm thinking that it's easier to like for people when they become like teenagers or something, they stop believing in Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus, but at the same time they still believe in God and like some sort of higher power. Because like they desperately cling on to hope and faith and stuff like that. And what I'm looking for is an alternative because I see that it connects people and I see that it motivates them. And I don't want to take that away, but the underlying reasons for that, like I believe are flawed. And so people need to find a better way of thinking, but we need to provide a substitute, a reason, arguments, and evidence and proof, like to genuinely convince them.
Finding a replacement that offers the same sense of community and purpose without supernatural focus on education. Secular humanism, for example, emphasizes and human responsibility to create a better world, finding meaning in our shared existence and relationships. Community service, scientific discovery, and the arts can also provide deep connections and a sense of awe, fulfilling the psychological needs that often draw people to religious communities. Do you have any particular values or interests you think could form the basis of a secular alternative for your peers?
Not scientifically. One question that I do have is that I noticed that stuff like, say, for example, like ancient cosmology or the structure that we created, like the heavens and the I don't know the deep sea or whatever it is, like the different things like originally people like had in religion, like how the world was created and all that, and other things like we've managed to disprove a lot of things with like actual science and evidence, but at the same time like why do people and why does the church and just everybody else who still like holds on to old beliefs and like even other stuff that is in the Bible, like why is that still held on to? But at the same time, like just considering the fact that we've realized that a lot of the things in the Bible and other teachings have been wrong throughout history, and we've modified those, why do people still assume that like, okay, since we fixed those, everything else should be truth, and they go based off of that without really trying to put effort into, like looking for more information to realize that, hey, like a lot of the things that you still believe now, those are still wrong too. Does it feel good? It's fucking pathetic.
Focusing on the spiritual and symbolic meaning, this can create a strong resistance to changing fundamental beliefs, as the emotional and social stakes can be very high.
Limiting yourself to a closed-minded way of thinking, like, and it's unproductive. Yeah, it makes you feel good, but like just going around making yourself feel good. Like you can say that the sky is orange because it makes you feel better, but it's really blue. But I mean, that's kind of based off perception. What's something that's more objective? Like say, I could say like, no, this sun doesn't even exist, and that because that makes me feel better. But like that's not true, and it's going to be unproductive for people to keep on perpetuating lies like that. So like religion, I don't feel is any like much different. I'm just using that as an example, and like probably like the sun being more of an extreme example, but like religion, people still believe in that and have this like idea of faith and everything like that and cling on to it. And it just seems like it's like a self-imposed limitation on their ways of thinking about the world and getting closer to reality and truth.
You're highlighting a real tension between subjective comfort and objective reality. Understanding the universe and their place in it, which can make challenging it feel like questioning everything they know. The challenge isn't just about presenting evidence, but also about addressing the deep seated psychological need for meaning and community that religion fulfills for them.
Basically, that became lifestyles and lifestyles became like who they are and they identify with it so much that they don't want to have their identity compromised. But what if people need to in order to actually like be able to be more productive? Like you could like have a group of people that just believe in a lie and then just have them go around believing that lie. But like, wouldn't you want to change those that way of thinking to help them and enlighten them? Like just because like even if it makes them feel bad, like they can change. Like people have a great ability. That's what's helped us to survive so much over time. Our ability to adapt and to change and to grow and be smarter and better, more intelligent, to evolve and become more civilized over time. Oh,
You're touching on the very engine of human of our assumptions of the pursuit of truth. Embracing objective reality, even when it's challenging, is how we've built a deeper understanding of the universe and developed more effective ways of living. The challenge lies in balancing that pursuit of truth with empathy for the human need for connection and meaning.
fucking empathy. Yeah, like here's the thing, like being nice to somebody, like doesn't like give them something that they can help. Like say for example, people like went overboard on the whole bullying thing. Like, yeah, you obviously don't like hurt people and hit them physically, but at the same time, you don't go around giving them wedgies and stuff. But at the same time, like if you don't tell somebody like something about like their like something that they're doing wrong, like they're gonna keep on doing it, like because they're gonna think it's right. Like they're not gonna be able to have any way of correcting it. They're not gonna have like any feedback. Like you just lie to somebody's face. Like say for example, I'm trying to think. Like say you have somebody that's like um they're going around like I'm trying to think of a good example. Like say like you got somebody who thinks that they look great wearing like a clown outfit and they think that's like appropriate to wear at like a funeral or something like that, and like nobody says anything to them and they go around wearing a clown outfit and get like throwing like sprinkling people in the face with that little hose flower thing. And like, if somebody doesn't like speak up and tell them that's wrong, then like they might, I don't know. It's an extreme example. It's probably a terrible example. I'm just trying to like, I'm tired and I'm trying to think of some sort of example. My bad. That was, oh,
That aren't aligned with the context or expectations of the situation. It's about finding that balance between being supportive and being constructively honest.
yeah, we got to find a way to be constructively honest with people who are religious and believe in gods. And this is backwards way of thinking, but in a way that's empathic. That's why I'm literally reading the Bible to try to understand people and who they are, why they are the way they are, so I can convince them like, hey, like you guys, let's stop believing in this anachronistic BS and let's go ahead and move forward together in a more productive way.
You open yourself up to discussion, which can be much more persuasive than simply challenging their beliefs outright.
All right. Here, let me go back. So let me just rephrase this so I can get a more thorough answer. Considering that humanity has had a tendency to believe in gods, pantheons, and different deities throughout generation over generation, like over hundreds or thousands or however many generations there have ever been of humans, we've had a tendency to believe in like higher powers and gods and stuff. And like I'm wondering if that was influenced by evolution or if it's something that has been ingrained in our psychology or physiology over evolution to be one, either more predisposed to other people and their beliefs about gods, or two, to be able to believe in gods even without being taught about them. Like, do we people naturally, is that their natural go-to for ways of understanding the universe? Is that something that is just a human thing? And um, is that something that, jeez. Um, um, God, my mind's blank right now. The idea of higher powers and gods been something that throughout evolution people have more of a tendency to believe in, or is that like, I know there's like you said there's no like God gene or something, but is it, it's more of like a lot of our things, behaviors and thoughts and processes and everything like that are kind of emergent properties of a lot of things combining together to create certain things like and so I'm wondering if maybe throughout evolution and over so many generations of people being believing in gods either by influence of society, um, or is it something that is just part of us and something we're naturally just predisposed to? I'm trying my best here. I'm tired of shit though. Fuck. I know Bible study, trying to watch my language. Also trying to, you know, gain truth and spread truth. So I'm doing it the best way I know how. I'm just me. Definitely different. I'm well aware of that, but we're still trying to, I mean, maybe difference necessary here.
Here is the short answer. Yes, humans are naturally predisposed to supernatural thinking, but not because of a single God gene. Instead, belief in higher powers is primarily an emergent property, a byproduct of several underlying cognitive tools that evolved for human survival. Even without formal doctrine or religious institutions, isolated groups of humans intuitively create spiritual or supernatural frameworks to explain the world around them. The cognitive science of religion, CSR, highlights several key evolved mechanisms that make human brains a fertile ground for these beliefs. 1. Hyperactive agency detection, ADD. For our early ancestors, hearing a rustle in the bushes and assuming it was a predator, an agent with intent, kept them alive. If they were wrong and it was just the wind, no harm was done. If they assumed it was the wind and it was a predator, they died. Because the cost of missing a real threat was so high, human evolution favored a brain that constantly over-attributes intention and agency to random, non-living events. When natural phenomena occur, storms, droughts, plagues, or eclipses, our default setting is to ask who did this and why, rather than a mindless physical process. 2. Theory of mind and intuitive dualism. Humans survived by living in complex social groups. To do this, we developed a powerful theory of mind, the ability to infer what other people are thinking, feeling, and intending. However, this system is so sensitive that we easily apply it to disembodied or invisible entities. Additionally, human psychology is naturally dualist. We intuitively treat the mind or person as distinct from the physical body. This makes concepts like spirits, ghosts, or disembodied deities feel completely natural and easy for our brains to process. 3. Promiscuous teleology, purpose-driven thinking. Developmental psychologists have found that young children are naturally promiscuous teleologists. They spontaneously assign purpose to natural objects. When asked why rocks are pointy, children often guess so animals won't sit on them, or that clouds exist for raining. This instinct to look for design and intention in nature precedes formal religious education. It is an innate mental shortcut humans use to organize complex information. Would humans invent gods without being taught? If a group of humans grew up completely isolated from any existing religious texts or doctrines, they would almost certainly not recreate specific historical religions like Christianity, Islam, or Greek mythology. However, psychological research suggests they would eventually generate animistic, spiritual, or supernatural explanations. They would likely attribute
Don't understand the universe and how it actually works, and so they just throw the God label on whatever. It's kind of like, yeah, God is in charge of that. Put it in God's hands. It's that they don't have control over or knowledge for how to understand. It's called cheating. Could be thought of as efficiency, but it could be thought of just like, path of least resistance and the easy way out. And we need to convince the world that the easy way out is not the best way forward. So, all right, let it continue.
minds to natural forces, the sun, the ocean, weather, see signs or fate in random occurrences, and believes that parts of a person's essence endure after death. Evolution versus byproduct. The byproduct theory, cognitive tools evolved to solve practical survival problems, predicting predators, navigating social dynamics, avoiding toxins. Religion emerged as a side effect when these tools operated together on abstract questions. The social adaptation theory. Once these early beliefs arose, natural selection favored groups with shared moral codes and fear of watching deities, believing that an all-knowing entity punished rule breakers made groups far more cohesive, cooperative, and successful in competition against other groups. While culture and government shape how religion manifests, the underlying impulse comes from how the human brain evolved to make sense of an unpredictable world.
It's the truth. Even though you serve the cause, their way of thinking. Still better ways, we're still evolving, we're still adapting, we're still growing as a society. Damn, we just need to expedite the process though. We need to get faster. We need to like pick up the freaking pace. Like people are just slow and stuck in their ways of thinking, simple-minded, short-sighted, and we gotta put a stop to it. We need people to be enlightened, being able to be educated and approach things more intelligently rather than relying on fairy tales. All right. It's 4:42. Where are we at? Did I finish synagogues? Or did I just go off on a whole tangent? I tend to do that. Oh, is ADHD a factor? Who knows? ADHD is probably a benefit. We have this whole thing with like quote unquote disorders. Like some of them like genuinely bad. Like some of them like say like Down syndrome or something like that. That's that's a different story. But like say like ADHD, OCD, and stuff like that. We live in a certain society where certain like biological mechanisms or just certain ways of thinking or different like physiologies, psychologies, and stuff like that might not be as advantageous. What was I saying? Shit. Um, yeah, certain I don't know, I lost my train of thought. I got distracted. Oh yeah, I was talking about. Oh yeah, again, like kind of reminding me of ADHD and stuff like that. So basically, we live in a society where certain things, like certain traits, certain things, ways of thinking, certain physiologies and psychologies, in that society may not be as advantageous as, like, say, if there was a different type of society or civilization under different rules, different laws, different regulations, different like moral codes, different ways of thinking. Take that same person and put them over here in this one, and they would be like successful as hell. They would be doing great. It's just the way humanity has constructed certain societies over time. Society changes at a relatively exponential rate versus where biology increases at a relatively linear rate, or like just to kind of paint an idea, it's like kind of a model, not completely accurate, but like at that pace, like society changes really, really fast, biology really, really slow. So certain people with certain biologies just aren't adapted ideally for certain types of societies that we've created over time. And so they label it as a disorder or a different way of thinking. I mean, it's just a different way of thinking, and it's helped us to survive. But in a society that requires or demands certain things, those traits aren't as particularly um, conducive to success. And so that's another one I think I had. All right, well, we got to wrap it up. I'm just gonna cut it off right there. So we're gonna go. All right. Here, let's do a quick prayer at the end. Bedtime prayer. Oh, okay. This one was fun. Now I lay me down to sleep. Common traditional version. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Should I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. All right. Have a marvelous and enlightening day. Let's go. Gotta go.